Hello, welcome back to Social Studies. Today we're going to continue talking about one of our 5 themes of geography, which is place. Remember, we are on part 2 of place. Last week we worked on part 1 where we took a look at physical characteristics, and this week we're working on part 2, which is all about human characteristics, and that's what we were introduced to on Monday. Yesterday we worked on political maps, and we kind of looked at the difference of political maps versus physical maps. And now we're going to dig into human characteristics even further. Today we're going to look at different jobs that might apply to human characteristics. So this is going to be part of our economy. And in this lesson, the title here is Economic Characteristics. I'm going to go ahead and read this short passage. The Earth's physical features and natural resources are distributed around the world. People choose the work they do based on the geography and natural resources around them. The economy of an area is based on its physical and human characteristics. People can work growing food, which is agriculture, making goods, which is industry, or helping others, which is services. So think about up here where it says, Earth's physical features and natural resources are distributed around the world. That is true because we don't have the same characteristics that every other place has. So the jobs that people might have can be determined by where you live. For example, somebody who lives in the northern part of Canada, probably you won't see a lot of agriculture going on up there. It's very cold climate, and then the winters are longer, meaning you're not going to be able to grow as much food up there than you could, for example, in southern areas like Florida, and areas that have a lot of sun and have longer growing seasons. That is then going to determine what jobs are available. Let's go ahead and look at agriculture further. Agriculture means growing crops and raising animals to produce food and other products. The crops and animals used for agriculture depend on the temperature, rainfall, and soil. For example, climates that have sunshine and enough rain are ideal for growing wheat and corn. Go ahead and say that word, agriculture. Very good. So again, agriculture is when we are growing crops. So if you see a very large farm and they have different vegetables or fruits that they are growing, that is part of our agriculture. They are growing those crops and animals to then sell to other people to consume. Think about agriculture that you might see in Michigan. I'm going to have you hold on to that thought until we get into our next slideshow. Our next topic is called industry. So we just talked about agriculture. Our next is industry. Go ahead and say that word, industry. Good. Industry is economic activity with the production of goods and factories. Like agriculture, industry is also affected by the environment. Factories require power and electricity, which is often fueled by water, oil, and coal. In order to transport goods through industry, factories must have access to oceans, rivers, and roads. So, for example, if we have a very large factory here in Michigan, we have to make sure we are close enough to either water, oil, or coal to power that factory. If we don't have access to those items, do you think it would be a good idea to have that factory in a location without access to water, oil, or coal? Probably not. It would be very difficult to produce any items to then sell if you don't have a way to power your industry. And then the flip side of that, we see a picture down here of a boat, which is helping transport some of those goods that are being produced in the factories. And if we have all of these items being made in factories, we need a way to get those to consumers, people who will buy those products. So you need to either have oceans, rivers, or roads where you can transport those goods. So we have agriculture, industry. Our last one is services. Services are another type of economic activity and include physical and virtual work environments. Services include marketing, design software, and computing. Services also include entertainment, transportation, and public safety. Even in communities where the work activity is mostly agriculture and manufacturing, services are still necessary to keep the economy growing. I'm going to point out that last sentence there again. It says, even in communities where the work is mainly agriculture or manufacturing, why do you think you would still need services? So if you are in a very farm-filled area, why do you think it's still important to have services? I bet you came up with some great ideas there. If you need more time to think, go ahead and pause the video. But we need these services still because even farmers and other manufacturers who live in areas that aren't huge cities, they still need to go to the doctor, they still need to go to the grocery store, and they still need other services to provide them the necessary steps to have a happy and healthy life. I'm going to go ahead and open my slideshow here. This slideshow you will have access to as well. I will put it in your assignment for today. And you will need this in order to complete your activity. So again, economic characteristics are the economy of an area is based on its physical and human characteristics. People can work growing agriculture, industry, or helping others, which is our services there. And I talked about that a little bit previously. So going into agriculture a little bit further. So a reminder, agriculture is just another word for farm and farming. It includes both the crops, so the plants, the fruits and vegetables that are being grown, and then it also includes raising animals, which are also called livestock. Agriculture provides the food and many raw materials that humans need to survive. So our farmers are so important to our economy because they feed us. They help us stay nice and full and keep our grocery stores filled as well. Agriculture in Michigan. What do you think are crops that you might see grown in Michigan? Well, if you look at this picture here, that's really going to give you some helpful hints up here. We see apples and blueberries and asparagus and potatoes and cherries. Michigan is really known for some of these key crops that are shown up here. We also see some cows and some chickens. You might be driving down the road in Michigan and you might see a farm that has a lot of cows in it. That's going to help provide the food as well as the milk that we need to survive here in Michigan. You might visit blueberry farms, or you might visit an apple tree farm and go apple picking. Michigan has a wide variety of different crops that they grow, and these are just a couple that you might be more familiar with that helps keeping our agriculture surviving in Michigan. Next, industry. Remember, industry is the economic activity with the production of goods, so something that is being made in a factory. So what about industry in Michigan? I know it says a little bit here. What do you think Michigan might make a lot of? Well, if you read below here a little bit, it says that we are the nation's automobile capital. So we have a really big history here in Michigan of making cars, and you can see some of the companies that I have listed there: General Motors, Chrysler, Ford Motor Company. Those are all really big, prominent Michigan car companies that we make in our industries here in Michigan, in our factories. We also make a large variety of products, including fabricated metals, machinery, and then food and beverage products and chemicals. So lots of different things are being produced and created here in Michigan. Lastly, our services. Services are another type of economic activity. It's our last of our three and include physical and virtual work environments. So Think of services that are there to help other people. What are services that can keep a community going? Pause the video if you need some more time, but I think you came up with some great answers there. Just take a look at our picture here. We see a wonderful bus driver, and we see somebody working with software and maybe pictures on the computer. Both of those jobs would be considered services. They are doing this job in order to help somebody else with something. All right, so there's lots of other examples. Those are just a couple here. Before you move into your assignment, I want to bring this to your attention that there will be 3 words that might be a little new to you. I'm sure you have heard them before, but I wanted to give a quick reminder. The words are rural, urban, and suburban. These are the words that are going to be part of your assignment that you'll have to answer some questions on. So I wanted to go over what these words mean. First one, go ahead and say rural. Good. So if you look on the side here, these are some examples of what we might see in a rural area. So we have a picture here. Farmland is really what we're going to see in a rural area. Not a lot of houses, not a lot of traffic. We're going to see farmers. We're going to see the land, some animals, some roads still, but a lot of farms in these rural areas. Next one is suburban. Say suburban. Good. In these suburban areas, you're going to see schools, houses, mainly neighborhoods. So think of subdivisions that you might live in. There's still going to be restaurants and malls and shops, pets, pools, and yards. So really think of our community here in Saginaw. We are more of a suburban community. We really fit in that category well. Lastly, say urban. Good. Urban, I want you to think of larger cities. So you're going to have lots of cars. You're going to have lots of traffic and more people. It's going to be noisier. And you can look at the picture here in the middle of what an urban area might look like. So again, these 3 are just going to help you with our assignment here. And I'm going to show you that right now. When you are done with this video, you are going to be looking at this assignment page here. And you will be filling this out. It's called Kinds of Jobs. So you will go through and fill out the questions here for agriculture, industry, and services. So for example, agriculture. All of your agriculture answers will be right here. You'll answer first. What is the meaning of this kind of job? That's what you're going to answer for agriculture here. So what does it mean if you have a job in agriculture? Next, who works in this kind of job? So put at least one person here of somebody who would have a job in agriculture, what their job title could be. And then lastly, this is why I went over our different types of places, because your last question is, are these jobs found in rural, urban, or suburban places? That will go right here. Then you're going to jump to industry. What is the meaning of this kind of job? You're going to put it right here. Who works in this job? And then lastly, are these jobs found in rural, urban, or suburban places? When you come to this question here, there could be more than one right answer. So just be thinking of that as you're going through it. Then lastly, your service area. What is the meaning of this kind of job? Who works in this kind of job? And are these jobs found in rural, urban, or suburban places? What I recommend to you when you are completing this, I highly recommend opening your Google Slides that I'm going to have here by pulling up either the Google Slides that you'll have yourself or your PDF, and then you can pull it off to the side here and you can work on them at the same time. So I could be typing in my boxes here and going through my different economy characteristics here. So this is a great tool. Or if you can't figure out how to do it, no worries. You can just flip back and forth between the two to get those questions answered. I would like these incomplete sentences. So when you are filling these out, please don't just write the job title. Make sure you're writing them in complete sentences. You may have to make your text a little smaller in order for it to fit in your boxes there. When you are done, please turn this back into Schoology, let us know if you have any questions. Bye, guys.